Hey everybody, this is Final Flame Productions back with another Terminator Dark Fate video. Today we get some new news of Tim Miller, who has done an interview, seemingly kind of going out on his own, I think, a little bit, throwing shade at James Cameron, uh, trying to uh, trying to blame him for maybe some of the failures of the movie. He blames them and then tries to backtrack and say, "Oh, they're okay." But you get a sense that he is trying to put the boot in against Cameron, because Cameron came out and said several weeks back that there was lots of arguments and that the editing of the movie was a bit of a struggle, or sort of there was a lot of scraps and stuff. Um, the Hollywood Reporter has an interview where you can listen. They've taken it from an audio interview, um, which I'll link in the description. But Tim Miller says he has no plans to work with James Cameron again because he wants to retain control of his own films. He says it's nothing to do with the trauma I have from the experience. Um, I'm sure we could write a book on why it didn't work. I'm still not sure. I'm processing, but I'm very proud of the movie. Um, he's proud of the movie, but he said he could write a book on why it didn't work. If there's that many things wrong with the movie, I'm not entirely sure why you're proud of it. Um, so that's an interesting quote to start with. Um, Talking about the critics, or the people that the fans that didn't like it, he says they seem to hate most about the movie were things I can't control. I can't control if you didn't like Genesis or felt betrayed by Terminator 4. I can't help that. He says that James Ellis or David Ellison and Jim Cameron, they had the final cut and ultimate power over the movie, which is again throwing blame towards them, suggesting that it wasn't all his fault, that they had the final cut. They changed lots of things. He says about things being cut or things being added. He says that even if he knows he's gonna ultimately lose a fight, he's still gonna fight. And if people tell him he can't do something, he says "f them," which is I can't. It's very interesting to hear these things coming out, just weeks after the movie's released. We expected that we probably would get interviews from maybe Cameron or somebody. I'm sure Cameron will come out in the very close future, giving his opinion on what happened in the movie. Um, but he said Jim Cameron wrote several scenes, which he was okay with, but the final cut of the movie, the director's cut, they argued over that as well. And it just the way he's talking, the way Cameron described it, it seems like it was an extremely heated editing process. The editing process more than anything else, because that's where the final movie is shaped, and the final thing we get to see. He says it was a tough shoot. He admits it was a tough shoot. He says that him and Jim Cameron disagreed on a lot of things. And the interesting thing is he didn't, even though he wasn't asked about it, but he didn't bring up the John Connor thing. He didn't bring up the backlash to that, which I thought was interesting, because he tried to sidestep why fans didn't like it by saying that it was because of past movies, but he neglects to understand that a lot of fans didn't like it because of John Connor being screwed out of the movie. The most interesting line of it is he says he won't work with James Cameron again, which he has said, or Tim Miller has said in past. Tim Miller has said in past interviews that he won't be doing any of the sequels. Well, not that the sequels for this trilogy are going to probably happen at this point, but he says he doesn't want to work with Cameron again, which suggests he doesn't want to have anything to do with the Terminator franchise again. He thought he had the finger on the pulse of what fans wanted, but he sort of suggests that maybe he didn't, which is a pretty obvious conclusion to come to. Um, so you're just left there thinking, you have these uh, two guys that clearly have high opinions of themselves. Miller seemed to be fighting for things that, if Tim Miller was fighting for things like the John Connor being kept alive or something, I could feel sympathy, but he was fighting for stuff that really didn't seem that important. Again, the whole thing's a mess. The movie seems a flop. Nobody is even talking about a sequel because it's obviously not going to happen. But it's interesting, Miller is throwing blame to Cameron while also trying to say, oh, we're still friends. But it's interesting. What do you guys think? Tim Miller, Cameron fighting in the media. It's another turn of another situation that is not entirely surprising, because we knew these two guys were saying some pretty interesting and kind of dopey things as the movie was being released, and now when it flopped, they're trying to throw blame back at each other. What do you think? It's pretty crazy.